Welcome back to another episode of Across the Bifrost. This is a very special episode, and we hope you're looking forward to a different take on what we usually do here on the show. This, by the way, is Dr. Norbert coming to you live from where? From Shepherd's Bush. With a special show about the recently gone by Mutant Weekender, the Hunt for Weapon M, a event that not only I, but my co-host put on for the MCP community. And who is my co-host tonight?
Hello, I'm still Jamie. I'm just a bit croakier and way more tired now because we just went from a full weekend of gaming and trying to corral nerds into being in the right place at the right time and voting for the right thing at the right time, which is a lot of work. So yeah, I'm here. I'm excited to talk about the thing that just happened.
Hey, Craig, excellent. Yes, as a matter of fact, that was just yesterday. So we were recording this on the Monday just after the event happened while it's still fresh.
Which is insane, by the way. Which is insane. I've got loads of messages from people being like, oh my God, you're going to work? So, yeah, I didn't book the Monday off. I'm exhausted.
That was a silly idea. I booked the Monday off.
Oh, there you go. Yes, wise.
And that voice you just heard, of course, is our guest tonight. Her name is Chloe Clegg. She is one of the prominent members of the UK MCP Marvel community. And we are very glad to have her along because she made the trip down to the event this past weekend. And so we thought that we'd love to have her on because we will have a competitively oriented discussion with the winner of the event. That, spoilers, happened to be Joe Jumanji, who's playing X-Men. And we'll have that in the Dojo first episode coming on around the same time as this one. But first, we wanted to have Chloe on because she can represent maybe all the casual gamers that came down as well, because I think there was a significant number of them, as it'll become apparent. So, Jamie, why don't we start by first just helping people understand the concept that we had for the Mutant Weekender, in particular the hunt for Weapon M.
Yeah, so we'll start with the format. The format was actually Curtis's idea. It's kind of our like Phantom third TO. He wanted to try out something differently with the event we ran last year, which was kind of I think he called it the Grand Prix style. And I won't get into detail there, but we learned a lot from that format and we tweaked it this time. And basically the thing with 2-day events, especially I find this is a European thing, because Americans, when they run 2-day events, if they lose, they start to drop and not show up for the second day and they go to conventions and stuff like that. Over in Europe, we don't do that so much. I haven't seen that as much. I don't like doing that anyway. If I'm signing up for an event, I want to play both days and play all the games. So this kind of new format was a way to give everyone something to play for on the second day, even if you had a terrible first day. So the idea is that the Saturday is a 80-person, we had 80 people, 80-person Swiss tournament, as you might normally see at a regular tournament. And then overnight, and through great work from yourself, Norbert, we split everyone into pods of 8 based on their rankings. So the top 8 would go into what we call the Omega pod, which is the top ranking pod. And then the second 8 go into the second pod, blah, blah, blah. So then on Sunday, you come back in and you're in a pod based on your performance on the day before. And then you have all to play for in that pod. So the best example would be Charlie Trendle had an awful Saturday. He went 0-4, which surprised a lot of people because he's quite good at MCP and he had a terrible day. So he went 0-4. And then on the second day, he ended up winning his group. He won every game and got a little trophy. So, yeah, that's kind of the idea, is that we want people to come back on the Sunday feeling, refreshed and having lots to play for and prizes to win and stuff like that.
Yeah. And as a matter of fact, people could actually change their rosters between the 2 days as well. And we did a poll on the Sunday morning for people to check in. Not everybody filled it out, but about 2/3 of the people did. And it turns out 40% of the people elected to make some changes to their roster in some shape or not. So a fair number, certainly not an insignificant number, took us up on that option. And I think that was for the better. But Chloe, let's, now that people have a kind of a grounding about what we were doing here in London, tell us, first of all, just a little bit about yourself and, how you got into this hobby, maybe what your interest in the hobby is, in particular Marvel Crisis Protocol.
Yeah, so I got into it, I think, about 4 years ago. I think timing's a bit strange. And it was entirely based off one of my friends saying, you've seen the films. I'm not playing Warhammer anymore. But I've started playing this because you only need 10 models. You're not spending as much money, which at the time I didn't have as much.
Yeah.
And he said, I just said, I'm not interested in another game. I've already got all this stuff. He said, well, you enjoy your conversions. So I don't I bet you couldn't convert any of these models. They're tiny. There's no way you'd be able to get the wrists working or pinning. I went, okay, then I'll bet. And we have this inside joke as friends where we'll bet 25p, which has been going around everyone's PayPals for years. So my first thing was to go, okay, then I bet you bet me that. Okay, I'll go buy the core box set, which was probably the stupidest idea I think I've ever had, and then spend the next 2 days on a after Christmas slightly drunk nightmare converting the entire list. I just finished watching the What If series, so like I did What If Ultron with his massive lance. For some reason, Red Skull I thought would make a really good. Oh God, what's that film now? Green Mask.
Oh yeah,
because that's probably the first model I posted, which ended up getting like 200 odd likes. I thought, you know what? The conversions have worked. Let's maybe try to play the game. And then made the mistake of going, well, show me the worst possible list I can play against. And of course, it was Black Order with Thanos, with both the Stones and Toad. And I went, I don't want to play this anymore.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much how it started. I got hooked ever since. It's been the other thing I've played hobby wise.
Oh, cool. Amazing. Now, is it fair to say that you enjoy playing, but it would probably be more on the casual side, and in part because you are very serious about the hobby side of it?
100%. The roster I took down for this weekend took a year and a half to make, from concept to conversion to painting to doing the display board. And this was the second tournament it's got to, and it's the first one it's got to intact. Without having to do any repair work. So yeah, 100%. The hobby side is great. That's my most enjoyable thing. And with Marvel, you have so many comic books, and every time I ask for ideas, what can I do as the next one? People just send me entire comic books. It's like, yeah, do this scene, do this one.
Nice.
And that's where it all comes from.
All right, great. And you're also, I can say, I'm not sure exactly where, but you're from the north of England, is that right?
Oh, I am from Bradford, right in the centre of Yorkshire originally, but I'm currently stuck in Liverpool, having escaped just.
All right, great. Now that we have a better understanding of where you're coming from, how did you find out about the event, and what intrigued you about coming down?
So I think it was your post on Facebook that I saw, and I was looking for getting myself set up for next year. And I'd only just got my partner Athena into starting to play as well. And we thought, you know what, we haven't been to London in ages. We'll be able to get have a couple of extra days, which we didn't end up doing. Book a hotel, restaurant, and like have a bit of a holiday about it. So that's where it first came from. And then it ended up just being all cut down and just being purely the event in the end.
So was the event, though, the format part of the decision, or was it strictly because it was a 2-day event in London?
2-day event in London. Like I thought, I've always wanted to come down to London for the events, but from where I'm based, it's about 4 to 5 hour drive, depending on the traffic.
Yeah.
So it's a serious commitment going all that distance. So for just one day, it's not quite enough. So 2 days just felt, 2 days, it's a really good ticket price at £45. I've seen Dark Sphere a lot. I've bought from them plenty of times. So, it'd be nice to actually go down.
Right. So Dark Sphere is the venue that we played it in. It's a very large gaming shop in the west side of London, near Shepherd's Bush, as I was joking about at the top of the show. And they have basically the entire basement area that is devoted to it. So it's cavernous. And
for anyone that doesn't know, for anyone that does know, this is probably just for our English audience, but it's a JD Sports, which is a really weird shop in that you have to get escalators into a JD Sports. And then that's why the escalators are weird, but it makes it a really good gaming space because it's just a big, wide open space. I ventured behind the shelves that we were stood by. Did you go behind there, Norbert? There's like a whole other room back there.
No, I didn't actually notice how big it was.
Yeah. The place is absolutely huge, and for London, by London standards as well, it's enormous.
That shocked me. It really did, because there was. Well, I think while we were there, there was. I think apparently a national. I don't know if it was Pokemon or something card game going on. So there was easily 300 people in that space, and it kept cool. You could still hear your opponent. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
So tell us about it then. So you decided to come down. You ended up driving down. Was it sometime Friday?
Yeah. So I booked Friday and Monday off work just so I could get down early, and then not have too much of a rush time back. Driving down was surprisingly okay. No traffic. I was not lost in London. Almost was. And we stayed at an Ibis. That's literally next to the kind of shopping centre that Dark Sphere is in. It has its own parking, which was fantastic because that was the biggest concern we had is me trying to get into a tube in London. I'll probably end up on the other side of London. So it was really easy to get to, which was fantastic. Drive was fine without any issues. I've come home and I am currently trying to convince most of my local club to come down for the May one.
Ah, yes. So, spoilers. You do a little foreshadowing about our...
Oh, exactly. Yeah. Find out later.
Okay.
And I'll be entirely honest. I saw that the event was 2 days, and then I only read the event pack Friday, and I went, oh, this is interesting. There's more of a format to it. So just before I left, I went, hang on, I've got to go back in the house and grab the rest of our model and the rest of our cards, just in case you want to make any changes between now and then.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So this is perfect. So you've driven down on the Friday. You found a hotel that had parking attached, and which is attached to the mall that the shop is in. I mean, this is all coming up roses. How was the cost for it? Everyone is very concerned. I mean, people in the north in particular, I think, have a conception about London being exorbitantly expensive. How did you find it?
So did I. I mean, I think admittedly, being January, it wasn't as bad. Hotel prices are fairly cheap, so for London anyway.
Yeah.
So considering it's more kind of a middle end hotel, it came to £258 for 3 nights, which isn't terrible. But what we've gone and done since then, so the price for that was all right. The parking was also okay for London. With that being that hotel, you can have your ticket checked, and it's with £11 a day, which again for London parking is fantastic.
That's pretty good, yeah.
So that's no problem at all. But since then, on our way home, we've had a look at a couple of other places as well. So going back on that, there's you can stay at the Heathrow Airport Travel Lodge, and that's actually about £30 a night, which coming back again is going to be about a third of the price. So it's not going to be any more expensive coming to the event next time than it would be to go to Element Games for me in terms of hotel prices.
That's a really interesting context, actually, Chloe. Thanks for adding. I had no idea. That really says a lot. What else was I going to say now? And just that airport hotel is about 30 minutes away, you said, right?
Yeah, so it's a 30-minute drive, which again, if normally when I'm going to Element for my weekender games or my day one games, it's a half-hour drive there. I'll usually get a hotel if it is a weekender. You're not paying for parking there, but again, the prices are pretty much almost the same. It's going to be more expensive not having the parking validated, but it comes to a total of I think about £125 for 2 nights with the parking, compared to when I looked at rebooking it at the same place, came to £300 odd.
Yeah.
So it's much, much better, and that's far more reasonable, especially for a 2-day event as fun as this one was.
Yeah. And I'd imagine being in London, if you didn't drive and wanted to stay at a place like that, I'm sure there are mass transportation links quite easily going in from there to Shepherd's Bush.
100%. I mean, outside of our hotel where we stayed this weekend, there's literally a bus stop, and then across from that, there's tube. So if you're more competent with public travel than I am, you'd have absolutely no problem. I mean, you can easily get, a train down to Heathrow Airport. That wouldn't be an issue. You could easily stay at that travel lodge and then just make your way in. Yeah.
Brilliant. And then you two made we were thinking about making a day of it, but you ended up just ordering in and having a few drinks, but and that was okay as well.
Surprisingly, I will admit, going from the usual looking at Just Eat and going, there's about 20 restaurants that are good, to going to 520 after filtering it. We spent half an hour getting back at the hotel going, well, we'll find something we like eventually. So no joke, we have favorited a couple, and we've even started. We're very indecisive with food, but no, that was quite reasonable. We got maybe slightly too many drinks back at the hotel, so Sunday morning was a bit grim.
Oh, this is great, though. I'm glad to hear you guys really made the most of it. It's amazing.
100%. Right. I mean, there were so many people, before we move on, there were so many people at that hotel as well that were with us. We kept having to decline people dragging us to pubs.
Oh, that's super nice.
That's great.
Excellent. So let's then talk about the venue a little bit, and then we'll get into the gaming experience. What did you make of the venue when you went down those escalators?
I went, oh God, this is going to get very warm very quickly because we're underground. I think it's anyone who's gone to tournaments of this size, the first few things in your mind are going to go, how many people are going to come get in here? How warm is it going to be? And how deaf am I going to be by the end of it? And then we all got in, and then I saw all the empty tables behind it, and I actually asked one of the venue guys, is that just your game? He went, no, we've got a national card competition as well. Oh, how many people in that? Oh, just another 150. And I was thinking, God, this is going to be absolutely horrendous. What have I done? What have I done? And within the first game, it was surprisingly quiet. I don't know if JD Sports means that you can't scream when you're down there or whatever it is. But no, it was great. The air conditioning worked the whole weekend, which was a lovely plus. Again, not to take a dig at Element Games, but it does get very warm there when it's nations in the middle of summer.
Yeah.
And that's more of an endurance sport at that point.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I didn't feel that the temperature was uncomfortable at all over the course of the 2.5 days that we were there. And you're making a good point about the noise. It was certainly, noisy, but it wasn't like to the point where I couldn't hear my opponent. It was a nice buzz, if anything. That made you feel like you were in something happening, as opposed to being obnoxious.
No, 100%. I mean, usually, again, everyone will have that thing where you go home and your throat is killing you. I mean, it was still a bit sore, but I wasn't, going home feeling like I've caught something or anything like that. It was just the usual amount of shouting.
Yeah, cool. All right. And how did you find the space, actually, the amount of space that was there and how the tables were set up?
Yeah, tables were fine. So admittedly, it was a bit strange because each row was at slightly different heights. So again, maybe it's just a me problem because I do have quite a bad back. So when it was a really tall table, I felt like I'd lost about 2 feet in height. So I don't stand up a lot. So that was a bit more of a strain for me. But aside from that, there's plenty of space between tables. I wasn't bumping into anyone because usually, again, when you have events of this size, you've got your back to someone else and you try to pull your chair back, you're going to be knocking into each other, which never happened. I had plenty of space to move. Let's be fair on my end, a very large roster between tables without knocking anything over. Plenty of space under the tables for things. So again, no issues there at all. Probably the most spacious event I've been to.
Oh, great.
Well, hey, that's really great to hear.
Which again says a lot for London, right? Because we normally sacrifice space. Where our normal kind of weekly games are, it's really limited on space because it's just a London thing. But I think we're benefiting from JD Sports. This is good.
Finally.
Yeah, and as you said, it was not only us running one of the biggest MCP events ever, but doing so alongside these national card games that were happening behind us, essentially.
Yeah, which seemed to have no relevance from what we were doing.
There was the Hero Clicks National Championships were there, and I don't know if anyone knows about Hero Clicks, but you should look that game up. It's really cute, but it's basically like MCP but way simpler. And they have like cross IP stuff. So there was a guy there that was playing with like Superman, Green Lantern, Scrappy Doo, and King Kong as his team. The age range, did you see the age range on that? It was genuinely
amazing.
An 80-year-old dude was playing, and there were some kids playing with them, and it's a massive age range. I've never seen anything like it. So yeah, I'm going to check out Hero Clicks.
Okay, so Chloe, tell us a little bit about how you approached preparing yourself for the game and the painting side of it. So, what were your hopes for it? And how did you prepare? As I said, I don't know where you want to start, but I want to hear a little bit about also how you did the hobby side of it, but also how you wanted to play the games that you were coming down for.
So the roster I started building before I even knew this even got announced. Like I said, it was a year and a half making it. So it just came from a fact where I used to work for a small hobby store that you did model trains, sadly no longer here, but they resold secondhand model kits. So I just took a model kit home of an M113 and thought, I'll build it. I'll have a bit of fun with it because it didn't cost me anything. And then I thought, you know what? Those bits are just about the same size as the She-Hulk I've got in front of me. And then that's the whole conversion just started from there. So again, regularly posting it on Facebook, and I thought, I'll make a display board because everyone does one, so I might as well eventually do one. And then I thought, oh, for God's sake, this is going to take me years, and it took me over a year to do. So when I finally had started getting set up for what was going to be the next year of events, I thought, I've got to at least get this ready for London because this one's going to be massive. So it was quite a lot of sleepless nights going up to painting for 8 and 9 hours a day, still not having finished anything.
Wow.
Just to get it ready. And I managed to do it actually before that one. So instead of it being ready for January, it was ready for November. And I cannot remember which event that was, but it was one at Element Games.
Was it Fall into the Multiverse?
Yeah, Fall into the Multiverse, yeah. And bearing in mind, it took me an hour and a year and a year and a half to build the list. I had not practiced it once because I had to convert every model, so I couldn't test any of the models.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So, and you also do your partner's models as well on top of it, which you said.
At the same time, which was probably not the most intelligent idea to do either. So I was also trying to get this list done, but also get hers all converted as well. Because I have most of the stuff that I've done myself, but she wanted her own list, and I thought I'd rather have her make sure she's playing with her own stuff so she can have fun with that.
Mm-hmm.
So it was trying to convert. I didn't quite get all of her stuff painted, but that's kind of like, an Asgard list with lots of LGBT themes in it, rainbow capes and cats on every base and mushrooms and everything. It's the brightest coloured team I think I've ever seen, and colours I'd never used, but was a lot of fun to try because, again, I'd never do it.
So that was at her direction?
That was at her direction, and I would sometimes pick up the model, having done some of it, take it to her and go, is that right? She went, no, those colours are wrong. Go back.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Go back into the room, redo it. And I go, okay, is that better? No. I was demanding commissioner.
She had something in mind, at least. That's pretty good as opposed to being wishy-washy, which is probably worse.
I mean, I will admit at some points I did say, I can't redo that now. I can't strip it. I mean, I could do, but I'm not going. She's not allowed to listen to this one. She can't hear me moan about it.
Before we get into what this board looked like that you brought for yourself, where can people, I know you've posted quite a bit, but where can people find some of your progress photos?
Oh, so I will admit this. I am probably older mentally than I think I am. So I do have a Facebook page, Chloe Paints, which hasn't been updated in a year. So there is no progress of this board on there.
Okay.
I am apparently on Instagram. I didn't know this, under Demon Chloe, spelled in the English way with an A, unlike the savage American way, which has nothing on it, except some Death Watch models.
0 for 2.
Usually you'll find me on most of the Facebook pages for Marvel. So there's the main Marvel's Crimes Protocol. I'm on the UK page, and I'm also post in the Throwing Dice podcast page as well. So if you just search my name into any of those, you will probably find hundreds upon hundreds of posts of this one list.
Yeah, okay, so that's the main AMG-sponsored Marvel Crisis Protocol page, but also the MCP UK page that people can find you at. Yeah.
Correct, yeah.
Brilliant. All right, so tell us then, what is the theme of it, and kind of describe for our audience what the final product looked like?
So I decided to go with the theme of the Vietnam War, mainly because, again, when I got that model kit of the M113, it's been mainly used in that theatre. All the weapons were from that era. And I thought, let's have a little bit of fun with it. I really wanted to try S.H.I.E.L.D. because I had lost at that point. I'm mainly a Winter Guard and A-Force player. And I hate Nick Fury. I absolutely hate that man. Every time I'll try kill him, he will fly away in a helicopter. I thought, you know what? I'm sick of playing against this. So I'll do that. And that fit with the idea of it being Vietnam. I found a couple of comics that were from that time, including the original versions of Iron Man, which is a horrible thing to look at.
Yes, agreed.
And that's kind of where the theme went from. I thought, let's try and push what I would normally do. So, let's try. I've been doing resin based since I started doing it. Let's try and do it properly as opposed to just a chunk of resin on the bottom of the base. So get that in there, camouflage. Really heavy conversions. I mean, I changed from I've always just used just green stuff to using milliput as well. Got proper sculpting tools into it for really push that to make the cloth, which is as bane of every person who has tried to do it, because you'll have thumbprints in it no matter what you do. And then also trying to get sound into the board as well, because the Vietnam War has probably the best soundtrack.
Yeah, we were amazed by that when it was out for display for everybody during the judging part of it. We kept hearing this music, and then it came to realize it was coming straight out of the board.
Yeah, I walked past. I was like, "Who's playing music?" As if it's not loud enough in here already. Who's playing music? And you were like, "Oh, it's Chloe's painting." I was like, "What?"
Well, it adds to the atmosphere. It adds to the theme. And that's kind of like where I went with it. So each model, I tried to do a mix of either something from the time period. So, strangely enough, Namor is the biggest one for that. When he came out, everyone said you've got to put him in the list. Bearing in mind, I'd already converted the 10 models, so I'm going to have to do another one. But I went, well, what did a US Navy SEAL look like in Vietnam? And someone just said, well, they didn't look like anything. Here's a picture of one, and he's in jeans. So the rest of the list is now just in jeans. That was the common thing. Looking up kind of like the brand of the oxygen tanks. So on his back, they're branded as the Aqualung from the era with that level of
Oh wow.
detail there, which no one will ever spot unless you look at the back of the model, which is me when I'm playing them. And that was it. So kind of like getting lots of outfits from the era. So Agent Venom, who didn't get to play because I had 11 models because I had Namor, he had full camouflage from a Special Forces unit as well. And just kind of went from there all in. Normally I do kind of like to have like little nods to pop culture in there, but I didn't in this occasion. It was just historical all the way.
Yeah. And the board, it should be said, was kind of like a sort of like a rice paddy kind of look to it, with various bits of vegetation, some streams running through it, and a little bit of a hill where the tank model then sat on.
Yeah, it was the idea of a search and destroy patrol. So where they just didn't have any objective to go with, and they would somehow all fit in the tank. They probably wouldn't do because there's a Hulk in there, but she was just about she'd squeeze in. Yeah, and then some people who'd already be, on patrol or hidden, kind of like. Admittedly, there was one pop culture model. I did forget that because I did have to put the Predator in there somewhere because though it's not Vietnam, close enough. And again, that was every time I post up that I'm doing something like this, I'll ask for hints and tips from Facebook groups. So I've had historians contact me. I've had people with, again, like I said, sending me comic books. And someone just sent me a picture of this Predator suit that I've never seen, which is apparently from one of the new films. They went, try and see if you can make Iron Man out of that. And I went, oh, for God's sake.
Wow. That's amazing. Cool. And the speaker...
The Spider-Man conversion, by the way, stood out to me. That was my favorite one. He had like a little radio backpack, right?
Yeah, that is because I wasn't sure what to do with him. So I thought, I'll get inspired. I'll watch Full Metal Jacket. And then I went, oh, well, no, Spidey is a cameraman. So he is now a field reporter. So he's got his little Kodiak camera.
It's a great idea. I mean, very thematic.
Yeah.
And the speaker then was hidden inside the tank since that's where the most space was?
Exactly, yes. So I originally hoped... So I bought it. I did have the dimensions for it. But I was wrong. So I thought my board would be deep enough. So the board itself, a lot of people, when they do this, I think they tend to just buy a chunk of wood and then they'll layer it up with cork and things like that. There's a much cheaper way of doing it, I found. If you just get a notice board, which is a cheap one, because that's going to have an edge, it's going to have cork on it already. So you can already start cutting into it. So it's just layers and layers and layers of cork. And when I cut into it and tried to put the speaker in it, which is just a cheap, tiny wireless Bluetooth speaker, it was still too tall. So I then had to cut a hole out of the tank, and I'd already painted all the interior in it, which was horrendous. No. So there is half a speaker lodged in it from the underneath.
Yeah, but that makes sense. I mean, I think that's clever regardless, because you wouldn't know where it was coming from, to be honest.
Yeah.
So, cool. All right. So let's talk about then the gaming. So as we talked about at the beginning of the show, you were there on the first day, and you were expecting to play 4 rounds in a typical Swiss format. How did that, tell us a little bit about, how did that go compared to other kinds of events that you've gone to? Maybe a couple of things, some highlights from your games.
So the results are probably typical for what I normally do, which is near the bottom. But the variety of people here, again, usually being at Element, this is my first time in London, I was playing against people I've never met before. I was playing against people from internationally who I've, of course, never met before. So the amount of different lists I was going up against was incredible. So the first game I played was probably my favorite one, which was against Curtis from, I think, is it Cable's Conquest podcast?
Yep.
And I had actually watched his podcast just before we came down because he had popped it up into the event. And I went, if I'd listened a little bit more closely, I knew its entire tactics.
Yeah, that's right, because he and Archie did previews of the lists they were bringing in and how they worked, right?
Yep, and I was paying up until the last minute with it in the background. And I thought, for God's sake, if I'd listened just a little bit harder, I'd know what he was doing. But it was my first time seeing Professor X.
Yep.
I don't like him now anymore either. Angry little man in the chair. But I was so close. He scored me out by a single point. I actually I had so many games where I got 16 points and still lost.
So annoying.
But it was genuinely a lot of fun. So sadly, I did lose to Curtis. I did fall befoul of the hundreds upon hundreds of Midnight Suns players. But I played 2 X-Men in one day, a couple of international players as well. And I also got to play against Inhumans for once, which I've never managed to do. Bob Reed absolutely caved me in with that one because I didn't have any clue what any of them did.
Yeah.
And I thought, usually at that point when I've had a 2-day event, because I always have this idea of I'll try and win the event, and then the second I lose, I'll try and have fun with the event. So I'd already lost to begin with, so I'll just have fun with the rest of the day. But as I was playing, because again, looking at the event pack, I went, what can I change? What is wrong with my list? I have an extra model I can put in, but I just kept noting down, like, what am I struggling with? What am I setting up wrong? So at the end of the day, I had won 1 game, I'd lost 3, so I knew I was going to be somewhere near at the bottom. So I sat back in the hotel and I went, well, it's probably the missions. It's probably the missions, so I changed those.
Easy fix, no conversions necessary.
No extra models. I didn't have any extra models. I didn't. So when it came down to day 2, I'll admit I didn't fill your form out because I didn't know there was one.
That's all right.
So it's slightly higher than 40%. Athena changed her list as well. She changed characters in hers. And I think I ended up in, I think it was Aeta pod, third from the bottom.
Okay, not bad.
Yeah, respectable.
Yeah. I was surprised that I had Ollie in there. I was like, oh God, well, this is going to be a fun one again. And I ran into another Curtis that was also from a podcast, but a different one. It's like, there's 2 of them. So that was a really interesting because I had a chat with all of the guys that were in the pod. So we 8-man pods.
Yeah.
And it was a real mix of players. I was expecting everyone to be of any skill level, but as anyone can have bad luck on a day. Obviously, you have Ollie, who's fantastic. In there, we had a couple of people who were completely brand new. We had one chap, and it was his first tournament. That was my first game against Riley. He was lovely. Not played a pure Wakanda in ever. With once.
Yeah.
And that was genuinely a lot of fun. And I got proved that even though you can be brand new at the game, dice are still in this. And I almost lost my entire team by turn 2 to a Wakanda, which was terrifying.
Wow.
Did just scrape out the win on that one, but I was genuinely terrified of that. So, good God, what's going on?
That sounds like a fun game, though. It sounds like on the nice edge.
It was. Well, I thought, I don't ever want to have a go at someone's skill. I thought, we'll have a bit of fun with it. So we ended up having sword base Montesi, which is an interesting one. That was me. I did change to sword for one of mine. So I thought, brilliant. I get to play a slightly smaller game. And I thought, well, let's have fun. We'll bring Namor, we'll bring She-Hulk, we'll bring Invincible Iron Man against the 5-man Wakandan team. What can possibly go wrong? Wakanda don't hit that hard, do they? And Storm then said, no, we do. We do hit very hard. And then I also then finally got to go against Dracula.
Oh God,
which was,
I did too, and that was an unpleasant experience for me.
He's scary.
It was deeply unpleasant. I mean, I've played. It was Jay Taylor. I've played him so many times now. I adore playing that man. He's always so much fun.
Yeah,
but it was a really. I learned actually quite a lot playing against him. I first of all learned that Warpath is no longer banned.
Oh yes, that's right. Somebody else mentioned me to the Jamie. They were like, "Is Warpath legal now?" I'm like, "Yeah, they did another update, kind of a minor one. And it wasn't like a huge update, but they slipped Warpath back into the rotation.
Yeah. Bit of a stealth one, yeah.
Properly shocked me. But Dracula. That's the first time I've played him ever outside of TTS, and that was absolutely horrible. It was a Dracula that also had a Baron Mordo sat behind him, giving him extra 2 dice, which he was then healing the damage back from anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I lost the Shield Captain America. I also somehow managed to lose Silver Sable, who shot him from range 5, but he then warpathed towards her, blood feasted, and one-shot her, and then went back to full health again, which was terrifying. I was like, well, at this point, I don't get to play anymore. I hit the man, and he runs across the board to slap me back. Yeah. Still managed 15 points in that one, but I literally just had one poor Iron Man shaking at the end of the game, wondering where the rest of his team went. And I said the last game was probably my favourite one, which was against, again, the other Curtis from Throwing Dice podcast, where I genuinely thought I had lost by the second round. Mm-hmm. I do apologise to you, Curtis. I know I was getting a bit mopey by the end of that one because I felt like I was just getting absolutely ruined. And then somehow managed to just beat him with a single point at the end,
amazing.
Which I feel so bad with. It was Widow sitting in the corner by herself, running back onto the point, standing in front of Hulk and going, nope, you don't get to have that one anymore. We're both healthy. I have 1 health left. You have 20, but that's fine.
Still counts. Still healthy.
Oh, God. He probably had the most fun 3D model I've ever seen. He did have Toad, which is my most hated character. but it was Howard the Duck.
Oh my god, that's a big Curtis move. Oh, by the way, he also in the prizes he won the dog pool mini.
Oh, did he?
Yeah,
That's funny.
Yeah.
So did Athena, so I have to paint one of those as well.
Oh, good, nice.
Amazing. So you went 1 and 2 on the second day, did you?
So 2 wins and 1 loss with that
Whoa,
one, which was really nice.
Yeah.
And that was really interesting because the change in the missions that I'd had from the first day really helped because sword base is much more easy for me to run around with. And I dropped a couple of the missions I hadn't entirely thought through properly because I would say I had played this list once and spent a year and a half building it and had no idea how to play Shield. So I'd had that little bit of practice fall into the multiverse and then a crash course on Saturday and figured, you know what, I know what I'm doing now. I'm warmed up. I can actually play the event properly and came out with 2 wins. So I'm really happy with that.
Awesome. That sounds perfect. So it seems like the format actually played into your favor and made the event a bit more enjoyable, perhaps, than a normal Swiss 2-day event.
Yeah, 100%. I'm going to be depressed if that's not every event now. Like say, Athena, my partner, she came down. She normally plays with Scarlet Witch in her Asgard list, which always confuses me. But she decided to not bring her this time, but I brought her in my case just in case she wanted her. She's like, you know what, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't have my favourite character with me. Change that. And then she again went, only won 1 game on the Saturday to then winning 2 games on Sunday. So she was much more comfortable with what she was doing and she had a lot of fun. I think she played almost every international player there was.
That's nice. Which, do you remember her bracket name?
She was the one just below me, which I think is Iota.
Iota would be the very last one, is that right?
No, it's just one just above that then.
Yeah, that would be Theta then.
Theta, there we go.
Yeah. Well.
So no, she had a lot of fun. She was the one on the car journey back saying, well, right, we need to get booked for the next one.
That's so great to hear.
Cool, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, she's not the biggest tournament player, but it's rare though she'll finish a tournament where she's not, as we all do, get a little bit tired. But I've been playing games for years and years and years, so I know exactly what I'm running into. Mm-hmm. But the fact that she came and she went, I want to go again. We need to get some people from our end to come down, so it's not just us two.
Yeah,
we'll rent a bigger car. We'll make sure we drag them all down with us if we have to.
Yeah,
brilliant.
That'd be cool. And with a bigger group as well, you can start looking into Airbnbs, which might be cheaper as well.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
So yeah, that's great. Yeah, I know that she was also telling her opponents that she doesn't play to win, and then rocking up.
But then brings Asgard. Which I love that about her. She's just picked the list that she really likes. It just happens to be the list that's absolutely horrendous to play against. And she went, I was telling her at the end of the event, you don't have to throw people to kill them. You can just throw them off the point. She went, oh yeah.
That's not the Asgard way though. Come on now.
That's not the Asgard way, no. But I'm going to be finishing this for you guys and going downstairs for a test game, another one.
Oh, nice.
And she went, well, I want to see what happens if I just try and play it just purely the objectives. I went, don't do that.
Amazing. Oh, gosh. All right, let's go rewind just a little bit because on Saturday at lunchtime, I think it was, is when we had the painting competition. And so everybody laid out their rosters to be looked at by the TOs. And I'm curious what you thought of the competition when you saw everybody's stuff laid out.
It was astounding. I'd listened to a little bit of Curtis from Cable's Conquest talked about how they would bring their display boards down. I was really looking forward to seeing Xavier's School for the Gifted and then this Dracula Castle themed board. The Dracula board was absolutely enormous. It could have crushed every other list that was there. Had these wonderful LEDs in there. There was some incredible painting. I really wish I had asked for the chap's name. But
it's Archie.
That's Archie.
Archie Cable.
Oh no. For someone else.
Oh.
So one of the first game when I played against Curtis in the first game on Saturday, there was a bloke just next to us who had this absolutely gorgeous non-metallic metal list. They're probably the most beautiful MODOK I have ever seen in my life. And he wasn't up on the best pay. And I thought I'm gonna have to find this man and make sure he gets sat down. But all the lists were wonderful. There was a really nice Apocalypse list where it had these lovely sand bases.
Yes,
I loved that one. That was Timo. I forgot his name.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah. His list was
that was amazing.
lovely.
I loved that one. Yeah, it was so cool.
honestly, it's probably some of the nicest painted rosters I've seen at an event. They were lovely. The variety in the painting style was huge as well. I just wish AJ had made it down because his cell shading is still my favorite.
The one painter that was missing, I think, from all the normal Titans that are there. Yeah,
I know I haven't seen his list in ages.
Yeah, I think you'll be in May one, hopefully. But yeah. I will say something, Chloe. You and I have been at the same event probably about 12 times, and I think I've consistently, if I'm not voting for AJ, I vote for yours. And I know that whenever you enter the room, I always turn to whoever's next to me and I'm like, oh, we need to check out the painting competition this time. Like, it's going to be serious. And it's, for once, you had some some competitions in terms of dioramas, because I don't think I've ever seen anyone do a diorama.
No, I haven't, and it's been amazing over the the last year and a half as I've been posting up these conversions. As in depth as I have been doing, I've been trying to get as much tutorials as I can do. I'm getting so many people contact me about advice for doing conversions, for doing themes and things like that. So it's slowly spreading, I think, which is really nice to see. But I actually put my roster down, and I generally thought, you know what, I've not won this one. I genuinely haven't. I honestly expected Curtis to win. His board was gorgeous, and so was Archie's.
Yeah, it was very close. It took a long time for us to decide.
I was not envious of that one at all.
Yeah. We actually, I mean, maybe we shouldn't say this, but we quickly put in second and third place prizes because we were like, we can't, it's too close,
Yeah.
Oh,
100%.
Like, Chloe wins this, but yeah, Archie and Curtis can get second and third for sure.
Yeah,
100%. It was the level of painting was spectacular. It really was.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I was spend between games, every downtime, I was going up to people that really love the paid list, asking them how they'd done certain things.
That's great.
Because the last chap in my pod, I need to give this chap a shout out because he was the only Irish player that made it down.
Well, we had 3 actually.
Oh, did we? I only saw one Irish flag in the list, so that's probably where I'm getting that one from.
Well, some of them, they're Englishmen living in Ireland, so maybe they identified with it. But we had Cottle down there. We had Anto O'Reilly as well.
Patrick, that was it. Patrick Longy.
Longy. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he had probably the nicest looking Mephisto I've had. And he came up to me and he asked, how do you deal with flames? Because your Human Torch is gorgeous, which everyone always tells me. It was gorgeous. Yeah. I hate that model. I hate that model so much. When I post it up, it is again, if someone searches for it, you'll see me moaning about having to paint it because the flames on that model are not natural at all. I painted it in 2 hours, having already stripped it twice, just to have it painted for the board to be done with. I thought it was hideous. He comes up to me, absolutely gorgeous Mephisto with the nicest flames I've seen. He went, how can I improve these flames? I went, you can't. They're perfect. They're way better than what I've done.
There's your advice.
Don't ignore what I've done. That's brilliant.
Yeah, nice.
So
it's also worth, so quickly, before we move on from the diorama, it's worth shouting out Lewis Richardson as well, who brought down a diorama. That was the X-Mansion gate.
Yes, that was the fence. 4th one there. Yes, I remember.
And hilariously, it was the same width as Curtis's X-Mansion, so you could connect them. They look like they're together.
That's
so
funny.
That's really cool. Worth mentioning, by the way, we'll make sure that there's videos, pictures posted of all these on the Across the Bifrost Discord after this, so you can go and check it out. I'm aware that talking about painting on a podcast is probably the worst form of media. There you go.
So just to wrap things up, with terms of the painting, we wanted to have everybody compete with their entire rosters, and the TOs would choose that winner, as we just discussed. But then we also wanted to give painters another opportunity, similar to how the competitive side had a new opportunity on the Sunday. So on Sunday, what we did is everybody in the pod of 8 would vote for who they thought was the best painted within their pod. So, again, similar to you only can have one winner and second, third place at a typical tournament, similar with painting, you only have one, maybe second and third, and that's it. And you kind of out of luck. Here, we wanted to give the painters the same sort of reset on Sunday. And so that's how we came up with the idea of where the players would decide who's the best painted within their pod as another means to win some prizes. And so tell us, did you win then the pod as well?
I saw that. That's a wonderful idea that you've done, because I'll admit I do feel bad. And it's just I'm trying to not sound as big-headed as possible. I'm really not, because half the time I do go to an event and I go honestly just to try and win best painted if I can, which I tend to, but I then feel really bad because I don't want people to go and go, well, there's no point in me trying. Because I love being inspired by other people's fantastic lists. So for best one in every pod was brilliant because it meant I now know who I can look at and check out what they're doing, see what I can improve on mine. And Furious, we all sat down as a pod, and Ollie just looked at her, and so we all just voted for Chloe, yeah? Yeah? And I went, oh, okay then.
I mean, it is deserved though, because like the reason we're doing all these extra prizes for this event, and we're going to do probably more. So we haven't even spoken about it yet, but we're probably going to do more in May. Is because Curtis is a big advocate for this. He wants to bring more hobby to MCP because he's from Middle Earth Lord of the Rings game, and there's loads of really amazing hobby in that, and he wants it to move to this game. So we're going to try and shine more light on that. Because even though you do rock up, Chloe, to every event and win Best Painted, everyone else should have a chance as well. So we're going to add more prizes, I think, and we're really trying to encourage that. So I really liked that, Best Painted per pod, because it meant that you won the kind of TO vote, but then there were 10 people that won Best Painted the next day, right? In the pod, so it's great.
Yeah, no, I really that was a fantastic idea. I love that.
Yeah. Now, real quick, we also had a TO voted best terrain board because we asked people to bring terrain down, and so we voted on that. And then the players also voted on the best looking terrain. So it was 2 separate prizes to go for, which came out to be different results, which was interesting. But now, Chloe, now I think about it, are you ever tempted on doing terrain instead of characters?
So Athena is desperate to do a board. We both have conflicting ideas on what we want to do. She wants to do a lovely Egyptian board. I really want to do an Ant-Man kind of board where everything's just a little bit too big. Back in the mists of time, when I did my Dark Dimension list, I did try and do a Japanese-inspired board. And the amount of resin I poured into that broke it.
Oh, wow.
So I'd built all these like lovely buildings. It was ready to go, and it just snapped. Because when resin dries, it gets very, very hot. And So it's something I really want to do in the future because everyone's boards there was so lovely. There was also so many of them. There was so many. And I was just thinking, the people have travelled here from all over the place and they still brought their boards. It was amazing.
It's a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah, speaking
of about who won that.
The boards, okay.
I did. I won it. Me and Hannah made a Danger Room table together, which is made up of like a lot of Shatterpoint terrain and some 3D printed like arm grabby tentacles. And I think because it was the only board that wasn't a graveyard or New York, we won by a landslide. So I'll take that. So more original out of the box ideas. Outside the box, you know what I mean. Ideas for terrain would be really cool. I think we'd really welcome that.
I can't remember the name of the person now who won the TO voted one, but can you remind us? It was a graveyard one that was really nicely converted and really interesting.
Yeah. Oh, it was David Hellier.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yes. Yeah.
David Hellier with like a graveyardy, spooky map. Yeah.
Yeah. It was really nice. So, we had 80 people there, as we mentioned, and you keep mentioning about the international contingent. We had 11 different nations, including the UK, in attendance there, which was just phenomenal. But I think that speaks to, well, first of all, how cool a community we have, but also just how well connected London is to the rest of Europe. I mean, it's one of the hallmarks of London, how well the flying transit is, and train, Eurostar is connections.
Yeah, it's a running joke that the Belgians come down to more London and Kent tournaments than the Northerners do.
Yeah.
Well, you say that. Athena did go to, because like I said, she played, I think, almost international players almost every game she played. Yeah. And she made it a point to ask, how much did it cost for you to get here?
Oh, cool.
And the amount of them that said less than it cost us to get here was hilarious.
Oh, wow.
Like flights in were quicker than it was for us to drive down. They were cheaper than us to down. I thought, God, we need to move to Belgium and then come to London. It'd be better.
Yeah. Well, no, but we've gone to France, right? We've been to France tournaments for less than it costs us to go to Element Games for nations.
That's right. That's not a joke.
It's crazy.
Not by much, but definitely cheaper.
Yeah, it's not silly. If you say like I'm going to another country to play a tournament, it sounds really expensive, but it's not. It's worth looking into this stuff.
It is. I mean, I'm really hoping to get to Malmo, which would be brilliant if I can pull that one off and with a roster intact.
Oh my God, how are you getting your roster over there? That's not going to happen. Surely.
Freeze it in a block of ice, maybe.
All right, Chloe, why don't you wrap us up here by telling us about what you heard so far for this elusive May event that you keep hinting at?
Yes. So it's one of the other things I really enjoyed about this one is the narrative behind it. And that is continuing into the next one. So we've we've been selected as mutants, so we're now being turned into, I believe, assassins.
That's right.
So the others that come again, we're going to have our own kind of secret missions if you play against us or beat us. So you get points for killing mutants or mutant-like people, which surprised me that Ursa Major was one of them. Didn't know that.
Me neither.
Surprised me too.
And so it just makes me want to come down again, just because I really want to have my secret missions that people can play against me about. And just have that other side of the non-competitive, just a little bit of fun with it. And I cannot wait to come back for that one in May.
Amazing. Yeah. So what Chloe's alluding to is that although it was a strictly competitive event, albeit with these kind of elements to make it more friendly to casual players, it also had a narrative aspect layered into it. And so we put out a story about it, and we had some pictures and things that kind of alluded to what was going on. But essentially, the theme here was that everybody was being brought down. They thought it would be a fun weekend where you would be testing your potential, kind of like 23andMe, and finding out, just how strong a mutant am I, possibly. It'd be just a bit of fun. That's all. Weekend, a bit of fun. Meanwhile, it turns out it's really a recruiting program on the sly by a bunch of different mutant-hating human scientists and military, of course, and so forth. And they were looking to categorize various mutants at different levels so they could apply them as assassins then to their ultimate goal, which is wiping out mutants by killing them with other mutants, which is kind of almost like a horrifically poetic way to do it. And so the next chapter of the story will take place in May 17th to 18th. Is that right, Jimmy? Yep, cool.
Yes.
And the narrative is that, as Chloe mentioned, you are now been brainwashed and put through a horrific set of conditioning, kind of similar to what the Weapon X program is, honestly. But ours is called a Weapon M for Mutant program. And it'll be the same format, so you could come play it competitively. But in addition, we have this little mini game of assassinations going on there, and
optional mini game as well. You can You could completely ignore this if you want and have the same event.
Exactly, that's the beauty of it. You could completely ignore it, or you could come down gunning for it in the first place, or you can say, "I'm not doing so well anymore. I just want to murder people for the rest of the weekend and just switch tack halfway through." It's entirely up to you. But yeah, there'll be a mini game of getting points by doing various different things that all involve killing stuff, and that's it. Or avoiding being killed if you're we have a special dossier type of token that people will be able to, an extinction agenda token that will put on people's models that they can then choose to designate as a way to gain points, or if they survive, they themselves get points. So those tickets should be on sale as you are listening to this. We timing the release of this with the rules pack. We gave all the people who came down to this event the first crack at the tickets, so that was a secret link for all of them. But by the time this comes out, it will then go public. And please message us if you have any questions about it. But we hope to attract you to come to this event. It'll be in the same location and same 2.5 day kind of a format that we've just been describing on top of the mini game that we were also described. Chloe, wrap us up. Any feedback, immediate feedback that you'd like to give us about the event? Feel free. Don't. We're not so thin-skinned.
I think the only thing that I had from it, and again, this was the discussions driving home, was it was a bit of an odd one to have your placement games be your 4 games on Saturday, and then the actual tournament being less. So maybe swapping that around would be nice. But I also appreciate that if you are working Monday, you don't really want to play 4 games on the Sunday.
Yeah.
So that was really my only thing. But honestly, aside from that, I was astounded by a Northerner going to London and coming home with some money left was impressive. Coming home with some money left, not being deafened, not being exhausted, and not being overheated. It was fantastic.
All right. Wonderful. That's amazing. Chloe, we can't thank you enough for giving us a shot at this, and also that we're over the moon that people, and we brought you on because you have that kind of perspective, but I think there were a lot of people at the event in a similar position as you and had similarly good experiences.
Oh yeah. Everyone I spoke to, everyone that was a new player, it was some people saying, this is my first ever event. I went, honestly, if you can keep coming to this one, you're going to have a great time with it.
Cool.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and thank you as well for everything you've done for like painting and hobbying. Like it looks like it's starting to grow and people are doing more of it. And I think that, next year when we're reviewing 9 different dioramas, you can be like, I was the first one that did this. I made this cool.
Yeah, I started it. Everyone's
started it.
following now.
We'll have to talk with Chloe. No pressure. But if you don't have another board ready in time, maybe instead you could be one of the judges instead with us.
Oh, I would love that. I am going to be honest. The next one, I am probably not going to be bringing anything that's new. So I'm just going to bring in the models I want to have fun with, as opposed to a list I don't know what I'm playing with.
Perfect.
So I would love to judge that.
Yeah, come be the judge. That'd be great. Take my place. I don't paint anything. I don't know what I'm talking about. You can take my place.
Excellent.
Difficult job.
All right. With that, everybody, how can people find us, Jamie? And more importantly, how can they give us their money?
Well, you can find us on Discord, which we promise to post loads of pictures of all of Chloe's work, also all the other entries on. So Discord's in the description thingy of this podcast. We also have a Patreon where we post interviews with people that have won events recently to talk about how they did it, or kind of experts in certain affiliations. That's that stuff.
And as a matter of fact, if you're a Patreon, you'll be able to hear the more crunchy version of this event's recap with the ultimate winner, the Omega level mutant, Joe Jumanji himself.
Yeah.
Brilliant. All right, everyone. Thanks very much for listening. We hope you enjoyed this little different kind of episode. And most importantly, please pass it on to anybody who might be interested in coming down, and we hope to see you there. And until then, have fun playing Marvel Crisis Protocol.